Apapa Road is synonymous with perennial traffic gridlock. And, this heavy traffic takes its toll on the road users. Don't forget that it is the gateway to two major seaports in Nigeria. That's the Apapa port and the Tin Can Island port. But today we still see that the traffic in that area or that axis of Lagos is still very, very, very heavy. The government is doing its best in trying to ensure that things will move better. Perhaps we've seen a bit of improvement in some areas, but the road users there and people in that area and those who have business doing in that area will tell you that things haven't really changed. So this morning we'll be talking about how to, resolve this puzzle, because
we've talked about how to resolve it forever.
So we are going to talk about it again. So
all solutions that have been proffered so far.
Just in case this morning will be the, that particular thing that we need to say and it will happen. So this
Amen to that.
So this morning we have in the studio a professor of transport and logistics at the Lagos State University, Professor Samuel Odewumi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Not really my pleasure to discuss that topic.
But it's your pleasure to be here. Thank you. And of course, we have the Chairman, Task Force, Nigeria Association of Road Transport Owners, Mr. Hassan Adekoya. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I know you will be interested in talking about this because it really affects your members.
Honestly.
Let's talk about the situation currently. What exactly is going on at the Apapa ports? We see traffic, yes, but what do you think is still the main issue there?
Thank you. All of the traffic, I repeat, it is artificial. We can end it in 1, 2, 3 days, but the policies around there will make it continue. If those policies are not reviewed, it will continue. But if those policies are reviewed, in 3 days, the Apapa gridlock you see today, we will see it no more.
What policies are you talking about?
The policy that generates the extortion.
Oh, this is going on and it's persisting because there's extortion going on. So some people up there are benefiting from
everywhere.
it. High and low. Okay. All right. Professor, I am dumbfounded. Do you also see what he is directly involved. You are in the classroom.
A theoretician.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I will say 3 things first. Because the last time I was on this program from Ibadan, I told you I won't come for this program as long as it is for Apapa Port. But your own persistence, channel's persistence, and staying on the story, and it is a national commonwealth that if we find solution to it, honestly, the massive gain on the economy. So I had to change my mind, not even to agree to be on Zoom, but look, let me come here, and I'm happy I did, because what he said just now is the conclusion. So the first thing, I appreciate Channel. Secondly, you mentioned that, whether progress has been made. The progress is like a drunkard progress. 1 step forward, 2 steps backward, another 2 steps backwards. That's why we are doing. Today, there will be some semblance of progress to impress somebody. The president came to Lagos and there was nothing on the road. The Minister of Transport, Amechi, said, so this thing is doable. Now, the second point I will make is that in our language, we say you wake up the person that is sleeping, not the person who is pretending to sleep. The problem of Apapa, we all know the solution. It's not a World Cup But the solution will stop some people from eating. And I said that day that what surprises me, what I find very shocking, is that we are exhuming corruption. We are going to the graves of corruption. EFCC is digging it up to do post-mortem, to find out, the corruption done 20 years ago. But here is corruption doing catwalk alive. From my two to Apapa, it is catwalk. It's not, nothing is hidden. And that's why I said nobody can say they don't know what is going on. The solution is the human and political will. And I called out 3 people that day. I called out the governor of Lagos State. I said, you went there and you said you will name and shame. If you cannot shame, please name. I called on the minister because the minister was on a TV and said, look, I was shocked myself that when the president came, there was no single trailer on the road. Then when we introduced Eto, we thought that would be our Eldorado. But the insect that is eating the vegetable is under the vegetable plant. It is no longer an issue of what technology can do. It is because the human programmer behind the Eto, if we take all the components one by one, all of them will dovetail into one thing. The human will that thing must not succeed.
That's the electronic call-up
system.
system.
It could work. Manual call-up can work. Any small queue system can work. But it will not work because we don't want it to work. And it doesn't take you don't need any probe. I said, I challenge anybody, it is doing catwalk. Between my two and that thing you will meet various roadblocks. Mounted or illegal. I have receipts.
Toll blocks.
Toll blocks. So that's me. I just
Receipts
from agencies. Illegal. That road is gold mine for so many people. So where we are now, I want to stop this section by, can we appeal to the conscience of people that, look, because you are eating a small rat, you are destroying a whole elephant for this country. Because what they think they are eating is small compared with what you are destroying.
Mr. Adekoya,
yes, ma'am.
The Lagos State set up somebody earlier this year.
Yeah.
How is that body doing? Have you seen the effect of the work that they're doing at all?
They have not really contributed any impacts because of the policies. And the Lagos State Government Committee are not aware. I told them essay severally, the Eto call-up. We are supposed to go digital and take off human interference to ensure there is no truck on the road. Electronically, if you are not called, you're not going to come into the port. But now, we are supposed to go through a satellite park, then a Pregate. The system give access to some trucks into the port without going through the process.
So, in other words, you're saying that trucks that have not been called up are allowed to enter the port.
A lot of them.
So how do they do it? Don't they have to show something that it's their turn?
The woman is behind the system. They manipulate it. That system is not in here to solve this gridlock. It's here to generate fun.
But what about this compliance team, enforcement compliance team that Lagos State set up?
This is what
are they not seeing all this toll gates, the toll blocks that Professor is talking about?
On the arrival of this team, they have seen Apapa as a place where you go to make money. And now, we had experience of last month, enforcement officials picking up our trucks. Why? Those trucks are supposed to be in a park. But the TTP, the Eto system, does not provide parks in some certain area whereby the Pregates maybe 2,000 trucks They charge 25,700 for 2,000 trucks. And those trucks are supposed to be in a park. They don't go through any park, either Satellite or Pregates, either Lily Pond. No, they just Pregates from a holding bay, then flood them on Lagos Road.
Sure.
Then before you know, the last man have to do their job by ensuring those trucks are out of the road. They just keep fishing trucks, not knowing that these trucks are supposed to be in the park. So the TTP app are just in there to generate funds. And that is the source of the continuity of the extortion we are experiencing today. And like I said to my colleagues, it is not about Apapa, it is not about Tinkan, it is about Nigeria, our national economy. The MPA is the gateway to Nigerian economy. Okay, it's the pillar of Nigerian finance. That's what I say to myself and to my colleagues.
Let's go back a bit. So the trucks are supposed to be at a particular park
or Pregates,
so that when it's your turn, you come out
and you go to the port.
And now you say they are on the roads because
15% of these trucks are in the park. 85% of trucks that are outside the port don't go through any park. They just get their Pregates through the TTP staffs. They have a contact. Some of the trucks will be in the park. You spend 1 week, you have not been Pregated. Some are not in the park at all. In a day, you've got your documents to access the port. Which one will you prefer?
And you are carrying perishable goods.
And you are carrying perishable goods. Or you've gotten a TDO that's going to expire in less than 7 hours. Will you go stay in where they're going to shut you in the park for a week or 2 weeks, or where you're going to have access?
Let's just say the governor is hearing of this for the first time. Governor Sanwo-Olu, I think you need to wield the big stick at this point. This thing has been going on for years.
Our producer said, of course, she reached out to government officials, and we're hoping that they will join us on the program at a later date to talk about some of these issues that have been raised. But we still talk about empty containers too being on the road. There are owners of these containers, and they should have exactly where they can put these things, but they choose the roads. Isn't that also going back to the people? So let's leave government for now.
It's not. He has given you see, Dieto is to... there was a time I was worrying my head about solutions. I now discovered that no solution will ever work if that political will to get it done is not there. What do you mean by solutions? I first of all said, okay, let's have the first outer ring. That is Ogere, Ijebu side. That is outer Lagos. That will be the first holding bay. Then 2, you move into Lagos, Festac or Jaw. That's the second ring. Then the last ring, which is called the main gate, is the Lily Pond. Any primary school honest person can arrange movement to call. Look, once you register, you see, there should be a sync with the operator of the A2. That, look, the system today can take 1,000 trucks, and those 1,000 trucks will be calling at a regular calling. But those calls will go into Lily Pond, and those not called that have settled will now be called up to be on the road.
Can Lily Pond take up to 1,000 trucks?
Can it?
No, we have Lily Pond, Pregates. Now you access the port wharf through the Lily Pond Pregates. There are other Pregates. Then Tinkan exit. We have 2 Pregates, which is one is called Sodiq and one is called NLPL Pregates.
How many trucks can it take?
The other one, the NLPL, can take at least over 500.
Okay.
Then the Sodiq as well can take over 500.
Okay.
So
if they split them?
Yeah. So the point is that you don't call more than those Pregates can take.
Yeah.
That is elementary, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
But those in the Pregates are going to be sleeping there. There is now the illegal ones that paid all the... Because with all those toll gates, You don't need to even to be called.
As long as you have your money in your pocket.
You just be settling 35,000, 12,000, 3,000, 2,000, and there you are. And whereas those who are following the rules,
legitimate,
are there in the Pregates port. So it's no longer a question of working out any solution, because if your system is synced, we have capacity for 500 now. Only 500 will be in. It's like a funnel, and the queue will be following.
Yeah.
But if it is that smooth, it will not throw up chances for extortion.
Yes. So let's look at it this way. I want to believe that the stakeholders, in this area, they come together regularly to talk. What happens?
And that's one crucial thing. You see, the stakeholders are the stakeholders they want. These people are their interest is always at stake. But the new acting MD, when he got there, he made some noises, and I was asking, after that, what happened? When it was launched, we thought, okay, this is what we have been waiting for. So what happened? The key thing, and you see, in any part of the world, I used to say, if you go to America, you find people who want to flout the law. But the law will not allow you. You flout traffic, ticket is waiting for you at home. Or it is your car park.
Your doorstep.
That it will meet you. So you will just not even attempt it. Because people do it and get away with it.
Yeah.
But the major issue here is that the real stakeholders are those whose interest is at stake. When you bring the Apapa task force, they did their best. But you see, those that you enforce or to adopt policy or that prescribe policies are those people whose life is at stake. That, look, if we get this thing right, it will be okay for us. Although they themselves now, sometimes out of frustration, they play by the rules of the game, but the biggest loser is this country. Just imagine 3 weeks of shutting down of exports, and 90% of our exports are raw materials.
Perishable, yeah.
Can somebody? We are looking for dollars every day, hard currency. Yeah. Those who are taking their goods outside to get the hard currency for us, they are shut down. Can you just think that through? You can bring them, and I said it is not something that, look, I need evidence. Just drive from my two and just follow one tanker. Ask the person whether he has a call-up, and he has no call-up. Just jump into the car. You see how he's settling and he's finding his way. Whereas those that are call-up are there in the Lily Pond and the other Pregates, cooling their heels for a week or two. So, I mean, nothing to really discuss until somebody there. And I said, when the governor said we name and shame, the minister saw it and said, so this thing is possible. Then we thought something dramatic will happen to sustain that presidential visit clearance. Yeah. Because it is, the fact that it's done means it is doable. So to be wasting time to be talking about, they all know, they know solutions, but the solutions will not give them what they are getting.
So what do we do then? We just can't sit, we can't give up.
That's the reason we're here today, but the governor has given up. That's what I want to say. If that
it doesn't seem so, because he set up this thing, and chaired by his special assistant on transportation.
Yes.
Mr. Fayinka.
Yes.
So is he not doing anything? Is Fayinka, is committee not doing anything?
He's removing
abandoned trucks.
Abandoned trucks then, and some of the ones he consider. You see, he can only do so much, which is not much in terms of what is going on. Given if you have a system, for example, if they release 2,000 to the Pregates or 10,000, how many trucks will he carry away? And those trucks, they are on the road. And somebody who should filter them has not done so.
He's only interested in money.
That is it.
So what role do you think the existence of petroleum tank farms play in the traffic in Apapa?
The tank farm don't usually have product. You only see them around, see the tankers around when the tank farm has product. When they don't have product, they are not around. We only have the only containerized trucks around.
So they are not a major problem, you're
For
saying
now,
there?
No.
Because some people are saying perhaps if some of these tank farms are taken out of that area.
They are the least of the problem.
They are the least, yeah.
They are the least. The thing we have to tell ourselves is that when we are ready, he said it, 3 days, I said, well, give it a week.
3 days, we'll find it no more. If the policies are...
But when we are serious.
Yes.
Yes. If you do that, some people we have so long a neck that that's the human will.
No,
And we are,
Prof, their necks will not be long because they have made enough. So if they have saved out of it, their necks should not be long for a long
I
time.
even accept your correction to the point that if the thing functions, they will still benefit.
Definitely they will.
They will. It's just stupid greed. Very, very unpatriotic greed. That, look, we don't care if you waste the whole thing so that we can continue to have the peanuts that they're having. And what on earth is, look, I have to call on Mr. President if there is somebody that is close to him. Look, if you have to fight corruption that is alive. It's not hidden. It's big enough, it's feasible enough. So, I mean, it beats me. Because if only he can solve that, most of the dollar problem that Emefiele is dealing with. Because if I can get my groundnut, if I show you videos of cashew nuts,
Rotten.
Forget yam. Yam just rots on that place.
Oh,
forget cocoyam. Forget. Will you try vegetable? Will you try fruits? Will you try flowers? These are products that makes other countries get their hard currency.
Yes.
Cheap to grow, easy to package, but you pack it on the average to get to the port at the best of times is a week.
Yes.
And to get out a week. That is with prayer and fasting.
Last week, it took our truck 4 days to exit Tinkan. We got to Ottawa exactly 4 days. Last week, we loaded from TI City.
But this is all very embarrassing for this nation because I recall that, I think it was 2 years ago, that the president actually gave an order that that place should be cleared. And it looks like nobody cared. Maybe it cleared for a day or so and everything was back. And nobody was punished for disobeying a presidential order.
It's still, I just sometimes, that's why I said, look, you are prescribing to those who are pretending to sleep. They are not asleep. If you are coming here telling you how you to solve it, they will just laugh at you because they know the solution. Solution is not what they are looking for. It is that problem because the more gridlock you have, the better the reward.
Yeah.
They make, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about other ports in Nigeria. We're talking about the Apapa ports now. Perhaps if those other ones, what do you think can be done to those other ports that we have in Nigeria so that some of this pressure here, can be dissipated to others?
Well, I was at the National Council on Transport, 7th to 11th in Kano. This came up strongly, and in the pipeline, ongoing, is the worry, is the Akwa Ibom, is the, there are so, then Badagry. Calabar. They will tell you, we are going to 15-meter depth. So it is being on the pipeline. And until that is done, In fact, you know, a day to that conference in Abuja, the minister went to inspect where the Warri port will be. So they identified the land. So that is a solution, but it's long term or medium term, so to say. But if you have a solution in your hand presently, and you can do it, and it's doable, but you will just not want to do it because of what we have said. The essay to the governor, I don't know how much he understood about the back-end shenanigans. Because if he knows, he will know that it's like wasting his time. You have 2,000 illegal ones, you pick 2, or you pick 200. You have not solved anything. But my worry is, you see, Lagos ought to have the capacity to deal with this, but because of these overlaps, I'm sure they sometimes get hamstrung in how far they can go. And another problem is the people you send to sanitize the place. It doesn't take long before they are immersed in the system themselves. And unfortunately, we can't carry Chinese to come and run our port for us. People will shout. In fact, they will shut down the place. So, not to stand very, very pessimistic, it is doable, and whoever is listening, the major problem is the human factor, nothing else. And I said at Abuja, at the Kano conference, I said, the PS and all the PS, all the commissioners, I said, look, if it will not work, shut it down. Because for now, the control point that you establish is ETO. So we should tell ETO, if there are leakages in your application, then you are not meeting our requirement. But because of that general conspiracy, whatever is the leakage in the application, that people can come in without going through the... For example, what you should have is a barcode.
Yeah.
That should be... They do it at the car parks. Go to the shop right there in the Ikeja. You enter, they give you... It is that barcode that... Lasucom has the same thing now. It's that barcode you press that the gate will open for you. Without that barcode, you cannot go in. It's automated. But they override it because of all these ones. And it's only government and federal government that can do it. It's only government and federal government, because that's all the cohesive forces to monitor and enforce. Because you see, enforcement is a critical. We are so weak, and generally speaking, that is a weak, like Lagos is now being overwhelmed in enforcement. You know, it was muted that Okada will be off the road, but the capacity to enforce that law is suspect. The task force is going there every day, running them, but they run them to the left. Before they come, they are already on their right. Before they, and sometimes it goes into a real civil war. I mean, there will be gunshots, shootouts. But tomorrow you come there to meet it. Yeah. So enforcement.
So does that not say something about the people too? For instance, you know this area is not where you should be, but you are ready to give kickbacks to get there because you have your own interest to protect.
No, when the program it is programmed to frustrate you. The simple idea is that you say you want to obey the law, you will stay so long in Lily Pond. You stay 2 weeks. Whereas you see somebody who has not fulfilled all righteousness, the unrighteous people are
that's what I'm saying about the people. So if all of us decide to say, this is how it should go, we would run out those other people who want to make the system not to work.
Unfortunately, the ratio of good people in Nigeria is, if I want to be generous, is 2 to 8.
Have you done your studies, sir?
It's a study. If you put 10 Nigerians down now, it is 2 that we want to. But it is law and enforcement that we encourage that 2 to be able to convince another 2, that we convince another 2. But I'm repeating, in anywhere in the world, it's not that it's a peculiar problem, really. It is when you see that, go to, whenever there is a queue, you go to the bank, where you see the clerk saying, please go and join the queue at the back. For some time, you see people obeying. But if they allow the righteous ones to get ahead of the queue, then they are promoting and encouraging. In this case, they deliberately encourage those who disobey. That is it. But the question you will have asked is that why is it difficult? Because when you are talking of general Nigerian milieu, I told you it's maybe about 20% that we be honest and stay with the honesty, and that means their interest will not be at stake. If their interest will not be terribly jeopardized. You are carrying cashew nuts or yam, and you are there and you see somebody who just came from Ibadan. And I said, look, I've discharged, I'm going back. Oh, I've dropped my container, I'm going back. And this thing is getting damaged. To move from some points, he was telling me how much you have to give your driver to move from maybe Apapa to Ekpe or to move to Mile 2. Now it is 350,000 or so to get out of, before Christmas now it will go to 1.5 million.
Yeah, we experienced that last year.
Because the surge is coming.
The Keja we experienced last year, 1.5 million. Ikotum, a cold room, 1.9 million last year. Then, taking your container from the Tinkan outside to National, 1,200,000. At Tinkan, just from inside the port, outside to offload the goods in it, 1 million plus 2.
No wonder stuff is so expensive in the market.
That is it.
That is it.
Look at fish.
Let's look at what role is MPA playing in all of this? And can you feel their impact at all?
MPA policy has dragged our economy to where we are today. The whole of the gridlock and all the extortions and all. MPA policy drags all of it.
Which of the policies? Which one?
We used to have the area of Navy. They say the Navy are extorting and all, they need to end it. They came up with the presidential tax team. They got to a point, we say the presidential tax team are also extorting. That was the era of the presidential taxing. That was when we got MPA encouraged more of badging, which is quite all right. We do badging too. When the badge quite started, we do badging for 120,000, but lately we do badging around last year for 300,000, but now it's quite a bit low now. So the policy encouraged more badging then. They had to allow the presidential taxing take over the road. They believe they are in charge of the road. So they came up with a policy that encouraged more of the water side. The other time we experienced Mr. Governor had issue when he banned the badging on Marina Road, if you can recollect. So that same policy as well say the presidential taxing are not doing well, they end it, that we need to go digital, which brings in ETO, the TTP app. So what do we have now? The TTP app is a policy that drafts them into the system, that they want to remove human interference, so there won't be any extortion
But
anymore.
there's still human interference.
Now, the human interference is even higher than what we used to have, and the extortion as well is even higher than what we used to have. Tell me, MPA, TTP, they ensure we started with 10,000, we agreed 5,000 or 10,000, we started with 10,000, before you know 15,000, we got to 25,000, we got to 30,107, 750.
Who is in charge of ETO? Who runs ETO?
MPA brings in ETO.
So it is MPA staff who do the computer work?
No, they contracted it to a company, which is the TTP. Truck Transit Park. So they are behind board. They take orders from MPA. Whatever they do, instructions comes from the MPA board.
So it is now TTP that is allowing these unauthorized or uncalled up trucks
with the influence of MPA. And not only that, there's a way we have to pay 11,000 naira. We just sorted that last week. We had a meeting with the acting MD on Lagos Road. Before you pass, not going into the port. We don't use the TTP, the transit park. We don't use the app on the road. They said to us we're going to pay 11,000 before accessing the port. Then we have to pay through a POS to an account. Then when we met with the acting MD, he told us that He needed our support. He wants to, and then we asked him, "Do you really want to end it?" We'll partner. He said he wants to partner with us so we can end it. Then we told him, "Okay, we have. This is one of the evidence we have." Then we gave him the account number. They said they are not aware. The account brought to TTP. They said they are not aware of that collection. The TTP said they are not aware of the collection.
And the money is dropping.
And
they are not aware where the money is dropping from.
Not only that, it is not that to access the port. Now tell me, if NPA can come out of the port and ensure they take 11,000 through an account before the truck can access the terminal, a light terminal, not the port, why won't there be extortion? Every law enforcement we want to say they want to take. Now, if our truck is going from Apapa port to Ikorodu, we need to give a driver 29,000 for the extorters on the road.
For settlement?
For settlement. For we going to around Okokoma, you have to give them like 22 or 20,000. Every junction, every local government, everybody wants to come out to take money from truck. And all of the board goes back to our economy.
Of course.
We take more. We are not giving back at all.
The fresh fish now is double the price of what it should be. Yeah. That is the cold fish, because you know that's very susceptible to
perishable.
Perishable. Yeah. So whoever imports, we want to get it as quickly as possible out. So
whatever is demanded,
whatever it will take,
he pays.
So what should be 300 naira fish, we go for 600, 700 when you do the arithmetics.
Okay, let me quickly take you back, Prof, because I'm interested in how we can decongest, the Lagos ports. Because if others are, up and doing and running very well, the pressure on Lagos will be reduced. You said it's a medium-term thing.
Yeah, the other ports.
What do you think the governments need to do to bring them up to date?
The other ports,
yeah, so that they can be as viable.
I think they are doing what they need to do. For now, I mean, but the speed is a problem. They have to dredge. Then they have to, you see, those things.
How long does it take to dredge?
You will say how much.
Okay, how much and how long? Okay.
It's not really how long. If you get good money, but it costs a lot in dollars. So what the government...
That the government cannot afford.
Cannot afford for all. And cannot afford for the debt. And it's not just even getting that debt, you have to maintain and sustain that debt. So what the government is, the ministry, especially that is in charge, is to look for PPP. Those who will come, develop the port and collect the money over time. That is the approach the government is using, which could work. But the question you should ask me is that, why is that taking like forever? It is taking like forever because our policy somersault is driving away investors. Ask Babalaki about MM2. Ask, that's by Courtney. What happened to Ibadan? What happened to Dangote when he bought refinery, the Port Harcourt refinery, to privatize it? Obasanjo sold it to him. Yar'Adua came, bought it back. And we are not talking of peanuts. We are talking of billions or hundreds of millions of dollars. So they will be looking at us and saying, look, are these people serious? I will now invest my money. Then one civil servant will become the permanent secretary tomorrow and say, no, you cannot put your list in there. So our policy inconsistencies, for example, I asked the question at the conference, even when we have the National Institute of Transport conference, sustainable transportation. How many PPP has really worked, transportation PPP in Nigeria? None. So we have problem of getting money. Those that can bring the money, we are not doing anything to encourage them to bring their money. So the major problem is it will have been the easiest all over the world, because look, it's out there that we need $3 trillion to build infrastructure of our dream, to get the economy running, especially on transport. But to get that, it's more than 50 years of our income. So we really have to partner. But as long as we look at, it's only the agreement that we had with the power generation firm, we will have taken it over. We will have overrun it. So those are the key critical problems. All other ports are being developed through PPP, and those PPP are watching us because they don't want to just dump in their cash and minus other issues of community, of security, of that are tangential to it. Money is there, but as I'm saying, it cannot move faster than that. We have to give them assurances. Then sometimes they will say, okay, if you want us to do PPP, bring 20% of it in cash. Yeah. Then we will be scratching our head for the next 3 budgets. Because these days, they don't say we will do it 100%. They will say the money is 100%, bring 20% to make sure you are committed to it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for your intervention this morning. It's really a discussion that one would say, as you said, you really don't want to talk about this anymore, and that should be because it has been solved. And we're hoping that some of the officials that are involved in this, the Lagos State government, the MPA, would be able to join us at some point to talk about some of the things that they are also doing to ensure that we tackle the challenges at the Apapa ports and perhaps other ports in Nigeria. But at this point, we'd like to say thank you so much to the Chairman Task Force, Nigeria Association of Road Transport Owners, Mr. Hassan Adekoya. Thank you for being here this morning. And to the Professor of Transport and Logistics at the Lagos State University, Professor Samuel Odewumi. Thank you.
Thank you. So my hope, because why I came is that, look, maybe somebody will get angry and said, look, let's get, because it is doable, it is possible, somebody will just hear it. So I encourage you to please continue, because it's massive. What you have there is very, very massive. The interest of the nation is at stake. And therefore, the challenge is whoever can do something, let them get angry and let us solve that problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof, for coming.